Sometimes you have to lose yourself before you can find anything. Deliverance wasn't just a canoe trip gone wrong. It was a production that nearly killed its stars, sparked legendary feuds, and forever changed how Hollywood views the American South. Picture this: a drunken author physically attacking his director, breaking teeth and noses, actors performing death-defying stunts without insurance, cracking bones, and nearly drowning. A 15-year-old boy cast specifically to look inbred, then forgotten by Hollywood for decades. A stolen song that launched a landmark copyright case, and a movie so realistic that over 30 people have since died trying to recreate its river scenes. Today, we're diving into 20 weird facts about Deliverance that prove the chaos behind the camera was just as brutal as what audiences saw on screen. But stick around for the bonus fact at the end. It involves a stolen gold record, Dublin gangsters, and one of cinema's most unexpected connections. Let's get into it. Number 1. Burt Reynolds broke his tailbone performing his own stunt and woke up completely naked in a hospital bed. The scene called for Lewis to go over a real waterfall in his canoe, and director John Borman wanted to use a dummy. Reynolds refused. "I can do that," he declared, and launched himself down the 25-foot Chattuga River waterfall. He hit multiple rocks, cracked his tailbone on impact, and the force of the whirlpool tore off all his clothing. When he regained consciousness in the hospital, Borman was at his bedside. Reynolds' first words? "How'd it look?" Borman's brutal response: "It looked like a dummy falling over a waterfall." The injury plagued Reynolds for the rest of his life, causing chronic pain that never fully healed. Number 2. John Voit nearly plummeted to his death during the cliff-climbing scene and was saved by pure luck. The scene required a close-up shot, which meant no stunt double could be used. Voit found himself 10 feet up on a slippery, almost perpendicular rock face. "I told the two grips below me, if I start to fall off, I'm going to push off the rocks, and you'll catch me," Voit recalled. When he started to slip and called out, one grip caught him, with a sharp rock mere inches from Voigt's head. Had the grip missed, Voit would have suffered severe head trauma or death. The near-fatal moment was captured on film and remains in the final cut. Number 3. Author James Dicki got so drunk and enraged during filming that he physically assaulted director John Borman, breaking his nose and shattering 4 of his teeth. Dicki, standing 6 feet 3 inches compared to Borman's much smaller frame, was furious that the director had cut the first 19 pages of his screenplay. The alcoholic author would sit in local bars telling anyone who'd listen, "God, they're ruining my fucking movie, ain't they? They're not doing my book." The confrontation erupted into a literal fistfight that left Borman bloodied and required dental work. Remarkably, no charges were filed, and Borman eventually gave Dicki a cameo role as the sheriff at the film's end. Number 4. The movie had no insurance coverage, and the studio deliberately tried to kill the production by cutting costs to dangerous levels. Warner Brothers wanted the film to fail, so they refused to insure the actors or provide adequate safety measures. This meant every dangerous stunt, every river rapid, and every cliff climb was performed without any financial safety net. As author James Dicki noted about the 4 main actors' courage, they had more guts than a burglar. The film became a sardonic commentary on this reality when Lewis declares early in the movie, "Insurance? I've never been insured in my life. I don't believe in insurance. There's no risk." Number 5. Billy Redden, the Banjo Boy, was cast specifically because director John Borman thought he looked inbred. The 15-year-old from Rabun County, Georgia, was discovered during a casting call at his local elementary school. Borman later admitted he chose Redden because his skinny frame, large head, and almond-shaped eyes made him the natural choice to play the part of an inbred from the backwoods. Special makeup was used to further enhance his unusual features for the role. The casting choice created one of cinema's most memorable scenes, but also typecast Redden in a way that would follow him for decades. Number 6. Redden couldn't actually play the banjo, so the production used an elaborate deception involving hidden body doubles. A real banjo player had to hide behind Redden on the porch swing, slipping his arms around Redden's waist and through specially designed shirt sleeves to finger the instrument. The scene required carefully choreographed camera angles to conceal this setup. Meanwhile, the actual dueling banjos music heard on the soundtrack was performed by Eric Weisberg and Steve Mandel in a recording studio. The result was movie magic that fooled audiences for decades, though it meant Redden received no musical credit for the scene that made him famous. Number 7. Ned Batty almost drowned during filming, and said his last conscious thought was hoping they'd find someone else to finish the scene. The rapids of Georgia's Chattuga River were genuinely dangerous, and the low-budget production couldn't afford proper safety measures. When Batty went under, he sank to the bottom and lost consciousness. Crew members managed to pull him out just before he would have drowned. In a grimly humorous moment that perfectly captured the film's brutal production mentality, Batty's main concern upon being rescued wasn't his near-death experience. It was whether production would be delayed finding his replacement. Number 8. The infamous "squeal like a pig" line has multiple origin stories, but it emerged from the filmmaker's refusal to tone down the male rape scene for television. Studio executives wanted two versions filmed, one for theaters and a sanitized version for TV broadcast. Director John Borman refused to compromise his vision. The line was suggested by Rabun County liaison Frank Rickman as a way to maintain the scene's disturbing impact while working within broadcast standards. Other accounts credit Ned Batty himself with improvising the line during rehearsals with Bill McKinney. Regardless of its origin, the phrase became one of cinema's most notorious and quoted lines. Number 9. Ronnie Cox fell into the river and was rescued just as he was about to go over a real waterfall. The production's cost-cutting measures extended to using actual dangerous rapids without proper safety protocols. During one of the canoe scenes, Cox lost control and fell into the churning water. A crew member managed to grab him at the last possible moment before the current would have swept him over the falls to certain injury or death. The near miss perfectly embodied the film's theme of civilized men confronting nature's raw power. Except this time, the danger was completely real and unscripted. Number 10. Director John Borman had to jump into a canoe and navigate the rapids himself to shame the actors into performing their stunts. When one actor refused to get in his boat for a dangerous sequence, Borman grabbed an oar and declared, "It's very simple." He jumped into the canoe and set off down the treacherous river himself. The director's fearless demonstration made it impossible for the professional actors to refuse without losing face. This hands-on leadership style epitomized the film's authentic approach to filmmaking, where everyone, from director to star, risked their lives for the sake of cinematic realism. Number 11. The dueling banjos sequence triggered a landmark copyright lawsuit that changed Hollywood forever. The song was originally composed in 1954 by Arthur "Guitar Boogie" Smith as Feudine Banos, but the film credited only Eric Weisberg and Steve Mandel. Smith hadn't given permission for his composition to be used and received no compensation as the song rocketed to number 2 on the Billboard charts. After the film's success made litigation financially viable, Smith sued Warner Brothers in what became a landmark copyright case. The settlement was reportedly so substantial that Smith joked it bought him a yacht. The case established important precedents for artistic attribution and fair compensation in the entertainment industry. Pretty wild so far, right? If you're enjoying this ride, go ahead, hit that like and subscribe button because, coming up, we've got stories about Martin Cahill stealing gold records, a director losing 4 teeth, and how this movie accidentally created Georgia's entire film industry. You won't want to miss what's next. Number 12. Burt Reynolds was considered for Michael Corleone in The Godfather, but Marlon Brando threatened to quit if Reynolds was cast. The two films were in competition for Reynolds' services, and Brando apparently declared, "If Burt Reynolds is in my movie, I will quit." Reynolds chose Deliverance instead, a decision that transformed his career from B-movie actor to major Hollywood star. The irony is that both films received Best Picture nominations at the same Academy Awards ceremony, with The Godfather winning. Reynolds later called Deliverance the best film I've ever been in, suggesting he made the right choice, despite missing out on one of cinema's greatest epics. Number 13. Jon Voight was so reluctant to make the film that he required director John Borman to count to 10 before finally agreeing to sign on. Despite his previous success in Midnight Cowboy, Voight's career was struggling. His recent films had bombed, and he was uncertain about Deliverance's prospects. He even read the entire screenplay aloud to his girlfriend Marceline Bertrand, Angelina Jolie's mother, to convince himself of the project's worth. When Borman called demanding a decision and literally started counting to 10, Voight finally committed. The hesitation almost cost him one of his most memorable roles and the chance to work in what would become a classic of American cinema. Number 14. James Dicki was so drunk during production that crew members recall the smell of alcohol oozing from his pores. The author's severe alcoholism contributed to most of the on-set conflicts and ultimately led to his ejection from the production. His son, Christopher, later wrote about the production in his memoir, Summer of Deliverance, describing how his father's drinking created a constant atmosphere of tension and unpredictability. Dicki would show up to filming intoxicated and argue with Borman about every creative decision. The alcoholism that fueled his literary creativity became a destructive force that nearly derailed the film adaptation of his masterwork. Number 15. The Banjo Boy actor Billy Redden was deliberately positioned next to Ned Batty during filming because he genuinely disliked Batty, creating authentic facial expressions of contempt. Director John Borman needed Redden to look dismissive and hostile toward Ronnie Cox's character, but the inexperienced 15-year-old couldn't manufacture the required expression on cue. The solution was to place Batty, whom Redden genuinely disliked, next to Cox during the scene. Redden's natural reaction of disgust toward Batty was then edited to appear directed at Cox's character. This clever manipulation by Borman demonstrates how real emotions and conflicts were channeled into the film's fictional narrative. Number 16. The movie's success accidentally created Georgia's entire modern film industry. Following Deliverance's massive box office performance, Governor Jimmy Carter established the state's first film commission to encourage more productions. Georgia has since become one of the top 5 production destinations in the United States, hosting everything from The Walking Dead to Marvel blockbusters. The economic impact has been enormous. By 2012, tourism to Rabun County alone was worth millions annually, and whitewater rafting had developed into a $20 million industry. What started as a controversial portrayal of rural Georgia inadvertently launched the state's entertainment economy. Number 17. Over 30 people have died on the Chattuga River since the film's release, trying to recreate the movie's dangerous river sequences. The film's authentic portrayal of whitewater rafting inspired countless city dwellers to attempt their own wilderness adventures, often with little experience or proper safety equipment. The very river where Deliverance was filmed became a death trap for amateur adventurers who underestimated the power of the rapids. Ironically, the movie that depicted nature as a hostile force actually lured people into the same deadly embrace it warned against. The casualties serve as a grim reminder that the dangers portrayed in the film were absolutely real. Number 18. Billy Redden received virtually no compensation for creating one of cinema's most iconic scenes and spent decades working at Walmart to make ends meet. Despite the dueling banjos scene becoming a cultural phenomenon with over 16 million YouTube views, Redden earned only a day's wage for his performance and received no residuals. For years, he worked as a custodian and greeter at his local Walmart in Clayton, Georgia, while his image generated millions for the film industry. In 2024, a GoFundMe campaign was launched to help Redden with mounting medical bills, highlighting the exploitation of non-professional actors in Hollywood productions. Number 19. The film's casting director passed over major stars like Marlon Brando, Jack Nicholson, Robert Redford, and Charlton Heston for being too expensive or recognizable. Director John Borman initially courted Brando for Lewis and Nicholson for Ed, but their asking prices exceeded the film's modest budget. Donald Sutherland and Charlton Heston actually turned down roles, with Sutherland rejecting the script as too violent. This forced the production to cast relative unknowns, which paradoxically made the film more authentic and believable. The everyman quality of the final cast made audiences identify more closely with the characters' terror and vulnerability. Number 20. Director John Borman later received a gold record for dueling banjos, which was subsequently stolen from his house by Dublin gangster Martin Cahill. The recording industry honored Borman's role in making the song a worldwide hit, but the recognition didn't last long. Cahill, one of Ireland's most notorious criminals, broke into Borman's home and stole the gold record along with other valuables. The theft amused Borman so much that he later recreated the incident in his 1998 biographical film, The General, which told Cahill's story. The bizarre connection between a Hollywood thriller and Irish organized crime demonstrates the unexpected ways art intersects with real-world crime. Bonus fact: the film was deliberately delayed for nearly a year because Warner Brothers was terrified of audience reactions and wanted it to fail quietly. Despite completing filming in August 1971, the studio sat on Deliverance until July 1972, hoping it would disappear without notice. The executives were disturbed by the film's brutal content and unconventional storytelling. When forced to release it, they opened in just one small 558-seat theater in New York, expecting it to vanish quickly. Instead, word of mouth turned it into a phenomenon. The film earned $46 million on a $2 million budget, becoming the fifth highest-grossing film of 1972. Warner Brothers' attempt to bury their own movie backfired spectacularly, proving that sometimes the most uncomfortable truths make the most compelling art. Deliverance stands as a testament to the power of authentic filmmaking, where real danger and genuine emotion created something far more powerful than any safety-first Hollywood production could achieve. The chaos, violence, and human drama behind the scenes became inseparable from the film's enduring impact. What started as four city boys taking a canoe trip became a cultural touchstone that still haunts American cinema 50 years later. And sometimes, the most brutal truths are found not in the final cut, but in the courage and madness it took to create it. If you enjoyed these shocking behind-the-scenes stories, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into cinema's darkest secrets. And remember, sometimes you really do have to lose yourself before you can find the truth. Don't go changing.